Good morning YouTube. We're going to take the rear bumper off today because it will be easy to do the paint rectification work to do scuffs and stone chips with it on the bench. It's easy when you know how, like any job.
Starting on the outside under edge of the bumper, we need to remove these 5 pan-headed machine screws.
If they haven't been off the car in 25 years, you're going to be lucky if you can take them alive. The only chance you've really got is with an impact drive, but even that wasn't getting these ones undone. So the only alternative is to either drill out the heads, or what we're going to do is grind them off. They screwed into 5mm roll nut fittings which are pushed into the boot floor, so it's fairly easy to remove the bit that you leave behind after you've removed the bumper.
And when you've ground the head off, you can just reach down underneath the boot carpet and pull the roll nut fitting itself out of the boot floor. If you do go at them with an angle grinder, the only thing to be aware of is just take it a little bit easy. Don't go at it so hard, you get so much heat into it that you start melting everything. And then still outside the car, the other 4 that you need to remove that the workshop manual forgets to mention are these ones, 2 on each side, just behind the rear wheel, which screw the outer edges of the bumper into the rear wheel arch liners. They are 8 gauge, 3/4 inch self-tapping screws, and they just go into spire clips in the wheel arch liners. If you want to remove the wheel arch liners as well while you're at it, then they're just held in by 2 M6 machine screws at the top, which screw into M6 roll nut fittings, which are pushed into the boot floor again. If you're having trouble finding these locally, then Speedy Fasteners sell both M6 roll nuts, which you'll want for these fixings, and also the M5 ones that you'll need for the rear edge of that bumper that we started with. If you need to remove the wheel arch liners and they haven't been off the car before, then you're almost certainly going to have to grind the heads of the bolts off here and replace the roll nut fittings. Whether you need to remove the wheel arch liners depends on what age of car you've got. If you've got a late model car, you'll need to take them out because that's the only way you can gain access to this little height adjuster bracket. If you do have one of these brackets, then just loosen the nut and bolt here with a 13mm socket and spanner. The nut is behind the side carpet inside the boot. You only need to loosen the nut and bolt. I've taken it out here because it makes it easier to show you, but the bracket itself is slotted, so once you've loosened the nut and bolt, the bumper will slide off the shaft of the bolt. For the left-hand wheel arch liner, if the screws are at all rusty, it will usually be easier to grind them off than to try and get them undone. For the right-hand wheel arch liner on a right-hand drive car though, it's worth persevering a bit to see if you can get the screws undone, because they are longer screws and they double up as the rear mounting screws for the washer reservoir. So undo the nylock and the washer first, and then try and get this screw out from within the wheel arch. This one is nice and easy to get to. The other one, which is right around the back there, is a bit of a ball ache to find. So now with it out, I mean, I did have to grind the head off this one, which turns into a bit of a job, but just to explain how it works, this rear inside fixing is a 40mm long screw. It screws through the wheel arch liner all the way through the roll nut. Then there is a penny washer on that. Then it goes through the washer reservoir, like so. Then there's the washer on the outside, and then the nylock on the top. So to have any chance of getting it out, you've got to remove the nylock and take the washer off, and then you should be able to unscrew it from within the wheel arch. If you do end up destroying it, like I say, the inside rear one is 40mm long. The rear outside one here is 30mm long, and if you want to take it off completely, there's another fixing in the top of the wheel arch just there, which is also 30mm long. Good luck. Now the rest of the job we're going to do from within the boot. So lift up the boot carpet and take out the spare wheel and the jack. Now, little Elan M100 Restoration Series top tip for you here. At some point obviously the boot seal's been leaking, so the boot floor is covered in rust staining. If you want to get rust staining like this off paint, then you need acid. Not that sort of acid, hydrochloric acid. This is 10% hydrochloric acid. Now I realise that's something that not everybody has in the workshop, so if you haven't got any hydrochloric acid, or it's sometimes called muriatic acid, then use lemon juice. And if you haven't got any lemon juice, well, those alloy wheel cleaners, they're acidic, so try those. Anyway, just rub that on the rust stain, all over, get it thoroughly wet, and then just leave that for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then come and rinse it off with a cloth and water. And the rust is gone.
Only 4 more fixings to remove now, which are underneath this carpet on the back wall of the boot. Now the carpet is glued on with contact adhesive at the top, but you can peel it up at the bottom edge and we'll work under the bottom edge there, peel it back. Now these shrouds for the lights are pretty fragile, and as we peel the carpet back there is some danger of breaking them, so I'd recommend we take those off. They're just held on with one screw at the top there, and then you can lift the thing out and out of the way. So there's just 4 8mm nuts to undo, 2 on each side, which are underneath the carpet there. So peel back the carpet, and then what you're looking for is 2 nuts there and there underneath the lights, which are actually pretty easy to get to. They're just pretty hard to video. So just undo all 4 of those. Then get helper Kate when she comes home from a long hard day at work, and before she's had a chance to even sit down and have a cup of tea, drag her out to the garage to help her lift the bumper off the car. See, I told you it was easy.